right, so our next set of notes are rotations, and there are three main rotations by degrees. There's 90 degrees clockwise, which is same as 270 degrees counterclockwise. Then there's 180 degrees either direction, and then 90 degrees counterclockwise or 270 degrees clockwise. Now, just a refresher, if you have a clock, clockwise is the way that the clock ticks. So clockwise is this direction, and counterclockwise is this direction. All right? So to start with, we're going to talk about 90 degrees clockwise. So if you have your original points of x, y, when you rotate 90 degrees clockwise, you change the sign of the original x and then switch their order. So we're going to write that as change original x and then switch order. Right? So then if you rotate 180 degrees in either direction, you're going to take your original point, and all you do is change the signs of both of them. So all we have to do are change both signs. So if it starts out positive, they become negative. If it starts out negative, they become positive. Right? And then to do 90 degrees counterclockwise, you take your original point, you change the sign of the original y, and then you switch their order. So it's just the same as this one, except you change the y instead of the x. So we change the original y and then switch their order. Right. So those are three rules. So down here we're going to graph our original shape. All right, so here we have triangle ABC. And for this one, we are rotating 90 degrees counterclockwise. So up here, our rule says change the original y and then switch the order. So A prime, we're going to change this 7 to a -7 and then switch their order. So that becomes a -7, 2. We're going to do the same thing for B prime. So the 5 becomes negative, so it's -5, 6. And then for C prime, the 1's going to change signs and order, so -1, 4. And we graph these 3 points, and we'll have rotated it 90 degrees counterclockwise. All right, so there's A prime, B prime, and C prime. So we took this shape and rotated it 90 degrees counterclockwise to get this one. All right, so in example 2, go ahead and graph your original shape of PQRS, and this time we're working with a square. It's P, Q, R, and S. All right, so this time we have 2 transformations. We want to rotate 180 degrees, and then we're going to rotate that shape to get 90 degrees clockwise. All right, so let's start color coding these. So we're going to start with P prime, Q prime, R prime, and S prime. So to rotate 180 degrees, remember our rule was to change both signs. So up here, P is 2, 6, so P prime is going to be -2, -6. Q is 6, 5, so we're going to make this -6, -5. R is 5, 1, so R prime is -5, -1. And S is 1, 2, so S prime is -1, -2. So using these points, this shape will rotate 180 degrees to this quadrant. So then go ahead and graph those. P prime, Q prime, R prime, and S prime. All right, so there's our first one. So we've rotated this shape 180 degrees to here. And then our second one, we're going to rotate the prime shape 90 degrees clockwise to get the double prime shape. So to rotate 90 degrees clockwise, we're going to change the original X and switch their order. And now we're talking about these points here. So we're going to use these points to get the double prime. So to get P double prime, you're going to change this value to +2 and then switch their order. So that we have -6, +2. And then Q double prime, so we're going to change the 6 to a positive and then switch their order. So we have -5, 6. And then R double prime, we're going to change the 5 and then switch their order. So -1, +5. Then S double prime, we're going to change this one and then switch their order. So we have -2, 1. And go ahead and graph these to rotate the pink shape 90 degrees clockwise. Alright, so now we have our double prime shape right there. Alright, so for 3, go ahead and graph this trapezoid so that it has all of its points. Alright, so here's our trapezoid, our original one. This is rotating 270 degrees counterclockwise. So 270 degrees counterclockwise is the same as 90 degrees clockwise, which means we're going to change the original X and then switch their order. So J prime, I'm going to change the 3 to negative and then switch their order. So we have 4, -3. And then K prime is 4, -6. L prime is 1, -8. And M prime is 1, -1. So we can go ahead and graph those points and go from there. Alright, so now we have rotated our original shape 270 degrees counterclockwise, which ends up here. And now we want to reflect that over the line y = x. So now we have to go back to our previous set of notes and know that when we reflect over the line y = x, we change the order of the points. So J double prime is going to become -3, 4. K double prime is -6, 4. L double prime is -8, 1. And M double prime is -1, 1. All right. So you can go ahead and graph those points. All right, so the blue shape is now the pink one reflected over line y equals x. Now, our last one is to translate -7, 5, right? So that means we're going to take this and change it a little bit because -7 means to the left 7, and we don't have room for that. So let's make it +7, 5, and move it to the right 7 and up 5. All right, and there is our final shape of triple prime. All right, and this last shape, go ahead and graph your original. All right, so A, B, C, and D. Now our first movement, our transformation, is to rotate it 90 degrees counterclockwise. So rotating 90 degrees counterclockwise, we change the original y and then switch their order. So this one becomes -5, -7. B prime is -7, -4. C prime becomes -4, -2. And D prime becomes -2, -5. So if you graph those, you will get your next shape. So there's A prime, B prime, C prime, and D prime. All right, so our next one, we are translating the prime shape. +10, +8. So we're moving this to the 10 to the right and then up 8. All right, and there is our double prime shape. And now our last one is to reflect the double prime over y equals -1 to get triple prime. So we're going to draw in our line y equals -1, which remember is a horizontal line. At -1. And if I can find a pen that will work. There we go. So we're reflecting over this dotted horizontal line. So if we're starting at A, remember you count down to the line and then count the same number past it. So there's triple prime. And there is our final